So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eazy Conversations. Thanks a lot to everyone who listened to the last episode featuring the homie Matt and I. Hope you enjoyed listening to us give our breakdown of a workout situation and the pros and cons of the at-home workouts and the in-gym workouts, proper workout protocol, all of that. Hope you learned some tricks that could help you out there and maybe get back in the workout game. Personally, I've gotten back into it a little more, feeling great. So now for episode 130 of Eazy Conversations. I'm extremely excited, of course, to be back in the studio virtually with the homie Matt. Say what's up, the people.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great day right now. I'm excited tonight, Eric. We're going to be talking about our favorite sport. It's going to be a laid-back episode. I don't know how hot and heavy it's going to get, like how intense, I should say, it's going to get. But why don't you tell the listeners what we're going to be discussing tonight?
Yeah, you never know. When you get us talking about the Sens, things get heated pretty quickly. Then sprinkle in the Leafs in there, and then it just takes us over the top. So yeah, for this episode, we're going to be doing our pretty much annual NHL episode. Sometimes we do two of these. The last one we did was actually, funnily enough, a year ago to the day that this is going to drop. So just, there's something clicked in our minds, like, let's do a hockey episode. So here we are. Kind of go over like what we've seen so far this season, predictions and playoffs, Stanley Cup, all that. So I think a classic spot that we always start off with in these kind of conversations are the ever polarizing Ottawa Senators. There's so many avenues we could go down here. Some of you listeners would recall that I actually had a blog this year, the Senators Sermon, where I diligently blogged before games, after games, just chronicling the tales of the Sens this season, and I have abandoned that venture for the last month and a half because it was taxing, I have to say. Every day, like, thinking of something to talk about for this team, which there's no shortage of entertainment with them, but it was just getting to be a lot because this wasn't really the season we were expecting coming into it. So Matt, all that being said, what are your kind of thoughts on the Sens coming into this year based on expectations and what you've seen this year?
Well, like many of us Sens fans, we were expecting like them to do a little better than last year, and I feel like we haven't been. Well, I'll explain myself after, but like I feel like we're not in an upward trajectory. Basically, I feel like every game before Jacques Martin became our head coach has been wasted and the exact same as last year, and only now with the coaching change are we seeing small little improvements in our Ottawa Senators. But for me, the Sens have been frustrating to watch all year. This year I've been watching the most amount of hockey in the last 5 years. I watch every game. I have all the apps and stuff, like I don't miss anything, and they've been frustrating to watch. But like I said, the last 15 or so games showing signs of getting better and more tight play and more disciplined play. And when I say more discipline, that's because like we had zero discipline. So it's still like a lot needs to be improved, Eric. That's the takeaway here. A lot still needs to be improved with the Ottawa Senators. They're just a little more fun to watch in the last month or so on TV. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that, honestly. Coming into the year, I thought we were so close on playoffs last year, and we had some momentum at the end of the year. Not the first time that's happened, too. I feel like the last few years we finished strong and then hope that it carries over the next year. Our guys are a little older now. They're young stars emerging in the league like Stützle, Tkachuk, Sanderson showing a promising rookie year. It's tough for all of them to take steps up, to be honest, there, and it's a bit unrealistic to expect that they all will. But I liked our team. Yeah. Honestly, like, I thought we had the makeup of a team that's fighting for the playoffs. I don't think I was penciling us in for a lock in the playoffs. Definitely not. But I thought we'd be in the mix. And I don't know where we are exactly to the day that we're recording. I think we're in like 26th place right now. So not at all what I was hoping and expecting of our Sens this year. Like, there was a point where the thing to do was kind of just cheer for the tank, so that we get a high draft pick. But I don't really like that, honestly. I don't know if another prospect is the answer at this point, because by the time that player is up to speed on where all of our other core guys are now, maybe we're, again, just not competitive anymore. I don't know how that's going to look. But yeah, disappointing. And like you said, it has been encouraging now to finally see some progress under Jacques Martin. And it makes you wonder, like, where might we have been had this coaching change happen earlier in the year, right? Like, we wasted a lot of time holding on to DJ, and I was kind of one of the, I want to say, people who wasn't necessarily like harping for Smith to be fired from day one. I was like, maybe we give him a chance and see if he can turn a corner. And he really didn't. We held on too long, and it's kind of cost us at this point.
You said a lot of good things there, Eric. I was going to bring that up if you weren't hanging on to DJ too long. I think we should have had a coaching change sooner, and Jacques Martin's not going to fix our team this season. There's not enough time left. And in the last 4 or 5 years, it seems like the Sens are never in the very, very bottom and never in a playoff contention, like fighting for a playoff spot. We're in that weird bubble range of 26 spot, 25, 24, which is very frustrating to watch and to not see us get better. Like, we haven't made the playoffs in 7 years now, I think. And I mean, we're ready. I mean, this was, 20 years ago, we were teasing Leaf fans because we were always in the playoffs and they were always out of the playoffs. And now, karma gets us. Do you want to just, I'm thinking we talked about, the forwards, then the Ds, then the goalie, maybe, keep so we can get to the forwards. I'm, my biggest surprise this year is that, well, right now, actually, my biggest surprise is the Pinto, Ridley, Gregg, and Tarasenko line is on fire right now. So as of recording, guys, it's February 22nd. Right now, there's no trade deadline happening. There's no big trades yet with this Sens, so we still have Chikrin and Tarasenko. But yeah, that line's been booming. The Stützle, Giroux, and Matt Joseph line's been booming. And a little disappointed in Josh Norris this year. That's what I'm going to talk about right now. Josh Norris, soft as ice. He's, or I don't know, soft as snow.
I was going to say,
I don't know how to.
Soft.
Soft as soft.
The ice on the canal was pretty soft a couple of nights ago, actually. But.
Soft as the ice outside my house right now because it's a big puddle. And Batherson's streaky, but not where he needs to be. And Kachuk's very consistent, hard to play against. Every team would love to have him on their team, but he's not gelling with it. Him and his line isn't doing as much as the other ones. Offensively, I think it's the least problems that we have because we do score every game. We don't have a problem putting the puck in the net. I think our problems more lie with the D and the goalie core. What are your thoughts on our forwards, Eric?
Yeah.
Would you like to see? Yeah, go ahead.
So it's true. It also, just to add to what we were talking about before, it makes you think. Honestly, it's crazy to say. Where might we be if we had Pinto this whole year? Right? It's crazy expectations, and kind of we're over mythologizing how good Pinto is. If we had Pinto, we'd be in a playoff spot. But it's crazy to see the impact this guy has when he's actually in our lineup. And not only that, when he gets a point, our record is just off the charts. It's unreal. But yeah, so I love that line. Pinto, Gregg, Tarasenko. They've moved them around as required just to get that other line going like you're talking about. For me, Norris and Batherson have been kind of disappointing overall. I'll loop Batherson in there too, where he has been really streaky for the last few years, honestly. But I love overall the skill set, size. His shot is great. He's very good. He's just so streaky. It's frustrating to watch. And Norris right now, you asked me 3 years ago, I'm hyped up that we signed him for 8 years, right under $8 million. 30-goal guy every year, but he's been a shell of his former self, and I don't know what his upside is going forward, honestly, what we can expect from him. Ideally, he can get 20 goals, and he can be a somewhat defensively reliable center too, but I feel like Pinto can be that as well. Plus, he's a right-handed shot. So, is it time also to look at moving some of these guys up front? Because I agree with you. Actually, overall, love our forward core. We have a lot of guys who can score, who are versatile. Tarasenko, I think, has been a great addition. If we're in a playoff push, everyone's praising Tarasenko on our team. He's produced right under a point a game all year. I'd be hard-pressed personally to criticize what he's brought to the table. I'm sure others could nitpick on different points of what he's brought to the table, but that ain't me. I'm a fan of what he's given us this year. And yeah, Brady, he can have the off game here and there, but overall, I don't have any complaints about Brady. He gets points, fires the boys up, leads by example.
Yeah.
We've said it before, in the playoffs, this guy's going to drag us through the mud. Timmy, too, though, kind of falls under streaky, inconsistent, sometimes bad body language when things aren't going his way.
Yeah.
But then he can score a goal of the year like he did a few nights ago against Florida, tie it up, and got us a point essentially against them. He's a game breaker. So he's still so young. Upside is insane. Like I bet on him to score 100 points this year. That's not going to happen. But I think he's 100% going to score 100 points at some point in the league. Like that is just inevitable in my mind. So yeah, forwards, not many complaints. Like maybe honestly, the biggest complaint would be Kubalik for me. He's been horrendous. Like honestly, brings nothing to the table. And there's talks of him getting traded at the deadline. We're lucky if we're getting a 5th round pick for this guy. Like that's optimistic. The phone ain't ringing for this guy. Anyways, so that's kind of my breakdown of the forwards. I agree with you. Don't think that's the issue. Maybe further down the lineup where we're getting into defense and goaltending too. So do you want to give your opening thoughts on like defense where you see that shaken down?
Yeah, absolutely. And just want to say that I agree with you on Tarasenko, Eric. Watching him the last 10 or so games, he's an impact. He's a big body. He has an impact. He adds depth, huge depth, and which is why people will not be calling for Kubalik, but people will be calling for Tarasenko because the guy would be great on a 3rd line for a playoff push, even a 2nd line, right? Yep. So I agree with you, Eric. He has been playing well this year. Defenseman, Sanderson's been great for us. Sanderson and Zub, very solid. Now, Sanderson came back from an injury, doesn't look 100% himself, but still playing decently. Like, his first 3 steps are unreal. Like, he can get by somebody with just that and use his speed like Carlson used to do. Maybe he needs to improve his, puck-making decisions sometimes. Like, he'll do a rush, but then, he can't quite finish. But, I mean, that's, only players like Makar and Hughes and those elite defensemen can, make something out of them. Sanderson, for right now, he's where we need him to be. We're paying him big bucks, and he's performing.
Yeah.
Same cannot be said for Shabbat. I mean, Shabbat, kind of like Dion Phaneuf, peaked when he was a rookie in his first couple of years and has gone slowly downhill since then. But that's slowly downhill. He was at a peak level. He had a season with a ton of points, I remember. Right now he's playing okay. I'm not going to lie. I don't hate his game. He scored a nice goal against Florida. But it seems like his problems might be mental or confidence issues or reactionary issues where he's got to, move the puck faster. But I like Shabbat a lot, but not for what we're paying him. And if he goes, I'm not going to, be sad. He is expendable, in my opinion. But then the rest of our decor, Eric, I can't stand Brandstrom. I know we still play him because we traded for, we have to, give him some value because we lost Stone for him. And Hamonic, I could care less about him. Bernard Docker, I don't know. We need to see more, I guess. He is tough, which I like. I don't know. Our D is where we have a lot of our problems, giveaways in our zone. Chikrin, I think, will go 100%. He's playing good enough to, a team's going to pick him up. He's got really good offensive talent. He's got a great shot. Good defense, solid defensively. I wouldn't say great, but he's solid. So, I'm saying half our D are good right now and half aren't. And a lot of our problems happen in our own zone where our D just cough away the puck or the forward's not there to receive the pass, or this is where the Sens break down, in my opinion. In our own zone, we can't get the puck out. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all our defensemen right now. What about you, Eric?
Yeah. So the thing is, on paper, if you look at our decor, I think that's a good enough decor coupled with our forwards to get into the playoffs. A top 4 of Sanderson, Zub, Shabbat, Chikrin. Find me that many other teams that have those caliber defensemen in their top 4. Yeah, there aren't many. I haven't really done the research right now to back it up, but that's pretty darn good in my opinion. Sanderson took a step forward from his very good rookie year. He didn't get a crazy amount of points, maybe in the 20s, 27 or something, but the potential is there to be a good 50, at least 50 point guy, if not more than that, if everything clicks. So, and yeah, Shabbat definitely been on the downward trend for the last few years there. He's kind of in that, my comparison I've used for a while now is he's kind of the John Klingberg to Jake Sanderson's Miro Heiskanen, or Heiskanen phased out, Klingberg out of Dallas, Sanderson's doing the same, and they're both those players are better than the other defensively as well. Heiskanen's a two-way player, whereas Klingberg's all offense, Shabbat's all offense. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's only a matter of time before Chabot is out. The only thing is he's expensive. Not sure how many teams are in the market for acquiring a guy like that who might be getting a little older. Like he's 27, I think. So I don't know what that kind of trade looks like. Whereas you look at Chychrun, if we're talking about trading Chychrun, he's a year younger, makes like half the money that Chabot makes for another year. So in my books, I wouldn't hate keeping Chychrun, but if we do trade him, it better be for a great return because that's a player that can be like a great number 3, if not even number 2D on another team that wants to go on a deep playoff push for 2 years because they'd have him for the next year. So I don't really know what contender. Like, please not Toronto. I would hate that honestly if he went to Toronto.
Yeah.
But a team like that though, who wants to bolster up their back end that might be a little weaker, could do a lot worse than Chychrun too. Zub is Zub. He's always great, reliable defensively, and they kind of sneaky upside. But yeah, the bottom 6 too is horrendous. Like our third pair D, whoever it is, Hamonic, JBD, Brandstrom, just god awful in my book. I think Brandstrom he's almost out. Honestly, like, people have been hating on him for a while. There's just never been a place for him in Ottawa, especially now that we have the 4 guys who can technically be offensive, even with Zub. His time's up.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Like not every player pans out, and he had a lot of chances to show what his potential can be at the NHL level, and I think he's on the way out. So those are my thoughts on our defensemen, which, like I said, good on paper. It's just our execution in our zone that's bad, which Jacques Martin has been helping to clean up the last, like you said, 15-ish games. We've gone much better in our zone because I can count on multiple hands, on like Dexter Jebster hands, where Chychrun Chabot have been pinned in our zone. That pair, when put together, has been brutal in our zone. So definitely still a lot to work on. Sanderson and Zub are the only ones I truly am comfortable with. When they're on the ice, I know they'll get out of our zone, they'll make a simple play, and I trust them the most, no doubt. But the real issue is what I think we're getting to now. I think is our biggest coupled with playing our defensive zone, like goaltending has just been like atrocious this year. Anyways, your thoughts first, Matt.
Yeah, first I wanted to say, like, we talked about on paper our forwards are amazing or good. On paper, our top 4 defensive core are great. So, like, the issue, one of the main issues with Ottawa has been implementing a system and coaching. Like, you take Chabot and Chychrun, put them on another team, they're probably going to excel way more, like on the Rangers or, like, a team with more of a system. And, like, I feel like if you took all of our players and put them under a different system for 3-4 years, we could be the Philadelphia Flyers right now or, you know, a team in 7th and 8th spot. Like, why are the Islanders better than us right now? Okay, they have Sorokin. That's fair, but like, on paper we have way more talent than them, I believe.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But and is our goaltending bad because our defensive play in our system is bad, or is it vice versa? What comes first? The word for our goaltending this year has been inconsistent because Korpisalo's had his great games where he almost robs the game and we win because of him. Same with Forsberg. But then like the next game they can be the total opposite and let in a weak goal, like against the Blackhawks. Bedard's wrist shot that was like a little dribbler through his legs. That was brutal.
Yeah,
that was terrible. That loses you the game, and we lost that game by 1 goal. So inconsistent. Korpisalo, didn't know anything about him. Then we signed him, had high hopes. You know, he played pretty well where he was, and he's played okay this year. But again, which Korpisalo are we getting every night? I never know. Same with Forsberg. I don't mind Forsberg, but to be honest, like, I'm not like people that want him to play more than Korpisalo. I don't agree with that actually. Like, I think Forsberg could be just as inconsistent as Korpisalo. So does the future lie with our farm team? I'm not sure. But Korpisalo for me has been great some nights and shit some other nights, and that's, I mean, it makes it exciting every night. Never know what I'm going to see, and is our team going to have to win, or is our goalie going to win us the game? I don't know. It's frustrating. Eric, I know you had high hopes for Korpisalo. Mm-hmm. Do you still like him? I'm not sure. Yeah. I know you kind of defend him more, like, especially in our fantasy chat, like you're one of his supporters. What are your thoughts?
Well, you're about to hear a change of tune from me here. So,
Mm.
Korpisalo, just looking up quickly, he's played 37 games for us this year. And last I heard, 15 times this year he's given up 4 or more goals, which is not great. You're not going to win many games, if any, if you're having to score 5 or more on a consistent basis. And I don't think he's been great this year. I think this is, like, statistically, anyways, and just looking at the goals he lets in, he's been bad more often than not. He'll have maybe the one good game where, like, he'll put up, I don't know how many saves he'd get, like, let's say 37 saves. The next
Yeah.
game he's letting in 3 on 8 kind of thing and getting yanked.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same
Yeah.
thing with Forsberg. If Forsberg has an incredible game, like standing on his head, 40 plus saves, pencil him in for the loss the next game. Like I know that's happening. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just how she goes. So I don't think the future really lies in either of these guys. I'm not completely out on Korpisalo, like you said. I'm a Korpisalo apologist. If next year he's playing the same way that he is this year, then I'll really be out on him. I'll give him next year to prove himself again, bounce back. But I think down the line, you pray that one of our guys in Mads Sogard or Levi Merilainen, one of those two guys, ideally both, honestly, can pan out and be our goalies of the future. Just you look at the guys who've come and gone through Ottawa, right? Our prospects that have gone on to other teams and have blossomed into a good number one starting goalies, anyways, reliable. Like, it's nothing you can really do about it. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and complain about like Gustafsson and Dakal, for example. Like, it is what it is. Dakal, calamity of the expansion draft. Like, we were not gonna protect him. It's a prospect who got scooped. And Gustafsson, at the time, I like Gustafsson, but I'm like, all right, Cam Talbot. He's a proven goalie, all-star. Let's go. Like, we're all in now. It didn't work out. Like, it happens. Like, the DeBrincat trade just didn't work out. You can't just be stuck in the past all the time. So, yeah, all that to say, Forsberg, not the future. Korpisalo, I don't think so either, but he could still be serviceable for a few years, maybe.
You said something great there. Korpisalo is notorious for, like, the 3 goals on 12 shots or 3 goals on 10 shots, like, after a good performance. That's so true. And I've noticed that kills are, like, when we're up 1 or 2-0 and he can't, like, hold the fort down. So thanks for bringing that up, because it's been apparent every week, always letting in low. Like, he's a fantasy, like, he's a killer. Like, he'll kill your fantasy points that night. He's terrible to have on your fantasy team because he doesn't make a lot of saves half the time. Like you said, he's given up a lot of 4-goal games or more. So good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate the guy either. Like, my dad's always trashing him, like, 24/7. I know a lot of people that I work with that have no faith in Korpisalo. I don't know. It's first year with the team. He signed for some more, so, like, maybe he plays better next year. So I don't know.
We'll see.
It's frustrating to see. Like, it's like, I feel like we've already said this, but we have, like, all the correct ingredients to make a perfect hamburger, but, like, the hamburger doesn't taste good for some reason. Like, the way we cook it, our barbecue is broken. Our barbecue being our defensive system is broken, which means it doesn't matter if the ingredients are delicious, the burger's going to taste like shit. We're going to play like garbage.
Yeah.
And we're not going to win every game. Nobody does. But, like, man, put up a better effort. It seems like we're playing better against the better teams and have trouble against the Anaheims and Chicago. Chicago has beaten us 11 games in a row. I don't know what's up with that.
Crazy.
We've also beaten Montreal 7 in a row or 8 in a row. So that's a weird little thing right there. But, yeah.
We have Toronto's number, thankfully. We beat them 3 out of 4 this year. But no, you don't know what you're going to get with Ottawa, right? You said it earlier. It's like those games you just mentioned there. Like, we could beat Tampa and Florida and lose Anaheim and Chicago. Any given night, like, we got Dallas tonight. I have no idea how it's going to go. We're either going to play lights out or they're going to smoke us. No idea. So, in a sense, it could be entertaining and, like, which one are we going to get tonight? But overall, I'd prefer, like, just a consistent, good team, good effort every night. And before we move on from the Sens, I feel like we have not talked about this guy yet. Claude Giroux, in my books, MVP of the season for us, been our best player start to finish in terms of no one sees the ice like this guy. He's 36 I think he's 36. Still like making plays out there, leading. You see the passion from him too, like yelling at guys and like directing traffic out there, showing them how to be successful in the league, and it's just crazy what he's done since he's come over. I think he's been a point a game player in his time in Ottawa. He might not be leading our team anymore. It might be Sutzla, but anyways, he's been fantastic. I really hope that next year, it's our last year that we have him under contract, we can do some damage with him. And if not, I hope he extends with us for a few years and we can experience some success with him in the active roster. That's my last thought on that.
And I just want to echo everything you said and add that when I was at the games in person, I noticed Giroux even more. Like I could see him like yelling and like you said, the leader, his leadership capabilities and directing the play, and he's very vocal on the ice basically. And I noticed that when I was sitting not too far away from the ice and could see all that stuff. And then I noticed, his play is like completely. He has the vision. Mm-hmm. He's a great leader, and he's freaking 77th all time in points in the NHL. Like he's a fucking legend. You know, he's great from Orleans too. So. I love Claude Giroux as well. Great leader.
So I think we're good to hop off of the Sens there, just to get to a couple of other like league-wide topics. Just like on the season in general. Like a question I would have for you, Matt, like just based on how the season's transpired so far, like what would be your biggest surprise of the season so far? Or if you got a couple, just let them rip. We can talk about them.
I mean, my biggest surprises would be, like, the Vancouvers and Winnipeg. Like, Vancouver and Winnipeg doing as well as they are doing. Because I didn't see that coming. I don't follow the Western Conference that closely and don't know, like, their emerging stars. Oh, yeah, they're going to be really good this year. Watch out for them. Mm-hmm. Those teams doing well. The dominance of the New York Rangers, who are sneakily, I think, on a 5 or 6 game winning streak right now. Top of the Metropolitan Division, which might be a little weaker, but like Rangers are sneaky good, and like you look at their top 6 and you're like, holy shit, like why is a guy like Vincent Trocheck doing so good? Then you realize he's playing with Panarin. Panarin's unreal right now. Rangers are fun to watch. I don't know. I like seeing every year like who are the new like top point getters, and like this year I'm noticing the Elias Petterssons and JT Millers and Quinn Hughes. Like Vancouver's fun to watch too now, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's fun to watch. I guess Kucherov, he's not a secret. There's no secret anymore. Like but I find Kucherov gets no love from the media because he's Russian. Like if a Canadian had that many points right now, they'd be like if this was McKinnon or McDavid right now, like there'd be a lot more talk that he's number one. And Kucherov gets no talk, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Honestly, it's true. He's kind of, I don't know if disrespected is the word, and I don't think you can really say he's underrated, but he, in a sense, he almost is. He has had so many good seasons in the league. He won the Art Ross years ago now. They're 127 points. And but he's always been like a over point a game, like a couple of 100-point seasons. He's just so good. He's another guy like Giroux, just makes it look effortless, like he's not even trying. Maybe that's another factor too. He's just like so lackadaisical. But if you watch this guy play, the plays he's making, and even his shot is nasty. Like this guy is a triple threat on the ice. But that's what I'll fall back to. Doesn't look like he's trying, but the guy, he cares. And like for Tampa to win those cups, he had to kind of change how he plays and get more into the game, where he used to just be like a perimeter player and move the puck around, not really be actively engaged. Like he had to grow, and you're seeing it now. Like it's crazy how he's just like, you see a Tampa game, like they lose 5-3, Kucherov goal, 2 assists. Like he's just always in the mix. It's insane. So that's something I want to touch on later too, like the scoring race there. But so for surprises, I had Vancouver. Like that'd be my biggest one. Never would have thought I think they're in first right now in the league. Never would have thought that. I thought when they start off the year hot, I'm like they're gonna crash and burn at some point. Last year though, and this is why I say that, Pettersson, JT Miller, and Quinn Hughes all had amazing years last year. Like they all kind of broke out to in a sense. I'm like, all right, they're not gonna replicate what they did last year. They're all on pace to eclipse what they did last year. So again, wrong once again. But I don't know. I still don't see them as a threat for some reason. The playoffs, like when we talk about cup picks and stuff, like I don't know why I just continue to dismiss Vancouver. Might look like a fool in a few months, but that's gonna happen regardless of if I'm right or wrong here. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, Vancouver, biggest surprise. Other one, just to add another one, would be Philly. Honestly, they're another team that I don't see at the end of the day hanging on to a playoff spot because they're not a playoff team in my opinion. But they're still there. They're still hanging around. So it's the Torts system, like you said. He's getting them to buy in and just go balls to the wall and no quit. They have a couple of good players, but I think that's one of the weaker teams in a playoff spot right now, if not the weakest. So it's definitely interesting. You never know what you're gonna get this year. Like who had Sam Reinhart scoring at an Austin Matthews like pace this year, right? So it's crazy. Like you said with the point producers, you never know who's gonna be in the mix really. But
and that's always who we're trying to seek when we're drafting, right, for our fantasy team. And like Sam Reinhart got drafted so late in the game, and now he's like got scooped up by my dad for a draft pick. Like it's just unreal. You never know. Where's Tage Thompson this year? Where's Jason Robertson in the point race? So the point race, I just Art Ross right now. Yeah. McDavid's gonna catch up to everyone.
You think so?
What I firmly believe. I think so.
He's right there.
Edmonton's second, their second half has been unreal right now. Like their last 30 games have been unreal. Like they're right up there. I think they're gonna go deep in the playoffs. But I truly believe McDavid's gonna catch up to Kucherov, or McKinnon will catch up to him, and then McDavid will catch up to McKinnon. Yeah, I truly believe that. Still a great team, Edmonton. Evan Bouchard, that guy's a freaking fantasy monster right now. Lots of points for him, and Skinner's playing decent. I don't know. Edmonton's a tough team to play against. And it was tough for McDavid at the beginning of the year. You know, he hadn't had the start he was getting every other season. He wasn't up there in the point list. So who do you think's going to win the Art Ross, Eric?
Yeah, so I hope McKinnon wins it, to be honest. I would like to see him get his first Art Ross. And eventually, I'll go to Hart after there. But yeah, I want him to win the race. Like he's won it a lot already. Kucherov's won it.
Yeah.
I am a big McKinnon fan as well. I think he's been having a monster year. He was getting a lot of praise for months, for a while in the season. Now the talk has kind of shifted over to Matthews because of the goal scoring, and hey, deserved for sure. But I would like to see McKinnon get back on a roll again. I mean, what Kucherov's doing is crazy, and I'm just looking at points too. Pasternak has 82 points as well. Like he's very quietly crushing it. Already point a game if he doesn't play the rest of the year, which obviously I'm not hoping for that. But yeah, it's tough to bet against McDavid though. Like 6 assists one night, he's always in the scoring mix. Like I said, I'm cheering for McKinnon, but I wouldn't bet against McDavid at the same time. So it's tough to say, but it's going to be a fun race to follow. That's for sure.
It's going to be close.
Yeah,
I like that.
Definitely.
There's no runaway. And Boston's always sneakily, quietly doing amazing again. And Pasternak doesn't get as much media attention as the other guys, but he's just as good as all of them. And he plays in the Boston system. You know, he's not exactly quietly good Boston. Like, it must be great living in Boston, having all these amazing sports teams.
Yeah.
That's another team that could win the cup any year. Like, you never know. Boston, they know how to win. Hart, you talked about Matthews. Okay, let's talk about Austin Matthews.
Just a little.
All the Leafs fans I work with, he's unreal right now. But, they think he's, the second coming, maybe on par with McDavid in terms of, how important he is to his team. Now, is Austin the recipient of, he has other amazing players playing with him, right? Feeding him the puck like Marner. The guy's the best goal scorer right now, though, in the league. His shot's unreal. It is. I don't think scoring that many goals merits the Hart necessarily, though. I think, someone that more... If you take away from the team, would the team be the same? So, McKinnon, I think, a McKinnon would deserve it more, in my opinion. Maybe even Kucherov, but Tampa's not doing as well, so I don't know if they're going to be considering Kucherov. But McKinnon, for me over Matthews for Hart Trophy. What do you think?
Yeah, I like McKinnon for the Hart as well, honestly. And where it's gonna get interesting with Matthews is if he ends up in my mind, it's a lock. He's gonna get 70 goals. Like he's already at 51. There's a ton of games left for him. He's gonna do it, I think. But 60 in my books, not enough to be like give him the Hart. Pasternak scored 60 last year. McDavid got 60. Well, McDavid won the Hart, but in my books, that's not enough. 70 is crazy. Like, you can't really take away from it. In this day and age, I got to just respect it, unfortunately. But otherwise, I would not give him the Hart. I like McKinnon more for what he does for his whole team. And yeah, Colorado's a great team as well, for sure. But McKinnon is a true, like, lead-by-example guy. He fires the guys up, demands excellence. I think Matthews is just great at what he does and is the recipient of, like, he's in good spots. Like, you're not going to take away from his goal scoring, obviously, but he's not the guy. Like, he won the Hart already there, but in my books, Toronto's a well-oiled machine that guys will just get their points. Like, Nylander has just as many points as Matthews, close enough. So,
right,
it's a stacked team still. Yeah, I would go McKinnon first, and then probably McDavid would be there too, just because, like, without him, Edmonton is just not that team, right? Like, Draisaitl is unbelievable, and you mentioned Bouchard, but Bouchard, I look at as like he's just a point guy. Like, gets a lot of points as a defenseman. Not one of the best Ds in the league though. He's still very young, but there's a lot of guys I would take above Bouchard in terms of, like, a D man to build a team around. Fox over him for sure. Like Quinn Hughes and Makar, obviously. Anyways, it's a different conversation, but McDavid would merit some conversation. And Pasta as well, honestly. In the mix. Boston, who would have had Boston in the hunt still in the playoffs? He's a big part of why they are still relevant. So you got to look at him as well. But,
if Matthews scores 75, though, does he win the Hart? Do you give him the Hart, Eric?
He very well might, honestly, because that is just very impressive. And we get guys. Let's say McKinnon ends up with like 126 points. Matthews has 75 goals, 40 assists, like 100. What is that? 105 points.
Yeah.
No, 115.
115. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd probably lean towards that, honestly. So.
Okay. Yeah, anyways. If you're almost a goal a game, you deserve to be the MVP of the league. Yeah. Okay.
Pains me to say.
I can't disagree with that. Can't disagree.
Just before we get off this too, there's a few people who voted for like who they think is going to win the Art Ross, so scoring. 2 votes for Kucherov. 2 votes for McKinnon. 7 votes for McDavid. And then 2 for others, so I'll just read what those were. The first one was from the homie Ron Antoine. He said, not Morgan Riley, LOL. So. And then former guest Curtis Daigle, he said, Ruk Shatzi. So we'll see. You would have to go on an absolute tear for that to happen.
Those are both joke answers, but
exactly.
Appreciate it anyways. Thank you for the laughs.
Exactly. Great laughs. So now for Cup picks, like just to keep it going there. I know we got to wrap soon-ish. So Cup picks. Who do you have? Like, who do you see going far? You have a couple of teams you kind of like this year, Matt, and why?
I think Vegas.
Yeah. Okay.
Still very strong contender. Oh yeah, I think Vegas is going to be up there. Sounds crazy, but I think Florida too. Right now, what they're doing is unreal. Like, if you look at their stats in the last 20 games, they're like in the top in all the categories for team stats. I think it very well could be Florida Vegas. I'm calling it right now, folks. Rematch. Okay. Calling it right now. Yeah, Florida's team scares me. Like how good they are. They're very good right now. And Vegas, I don't know. They have this. Vegas has this like a mojo about them in the playoffs ever since they came in the league, and you never count them out. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see Florida, Edmonton, or like Winnipeg, Florida, like a Canadian team against Florida. But I think Vegas is going to be there at the end. I don't think Colorado's got the goaltending, or I don't know. Vegas, Florida. That's my prediction right there. Okay. What about you, Eric?
I like that. It's a good call. Honestly, I don't think either of those teams is going to make it again to the final. I think it's so hard. I love Florida's team, to be honest, like weapons everywhere. But I feel like so hard, and maybe even for Florida, peaking at the wrong time situation. Vegas, what annoys me with them is that now they just got Stone, who's going to be thrown on LTIR. Eichel is in the same situation, LTIR, so they have a bunch of cap now, like 17 million, that they can just add a few pieces. Playoffs roll around, slide right back into the lineup, go on a run again. I absolutely hate that, honestly. The last team I want to see win, other than Toronto, is Vegas right now. So I really hope that's not the case. If it is, I'd love to see Florida win, though, for sure. Like I like a lot of their players. Having Matt Tkachuk on fantasy, it makes me lean towards cheering for him. But the big thing, though, with that and what you're talking about with Vegas, for the Pacific Division, that first seed is going to be crucial because you do not want to play Vegas. And I think the team that's going to need the one seed the most is Vancouver. I think Vancouver does not get out of the first round if they make it in the second spot because they'll play either Edmonton or Vegas. I think both those teams can beat Vancouver. Maybe that's a hot take. I like Edmonton to go far. Like I bet on them to win the cup. As soon as Vegas won, I locked that bet in. Like McDavid's getting his cup now. He saw his boy Eichel win. Like he's getting it now. So, and I also think with Edmonton that they started off so bad. They went on a crazy run of like whatever it was, 16, 17 wins in a row. And like you said, McDavid is not having that same statistically dominant season where he's saving it for when it matters. And that's going to segue over to Toronto. I think Matthews just blowing his load too early here with the goals here. He's getting them all out of the way at the wrong time. Score 90 if you want this year. You ain't scoring 10 in the playoffs, man. Like that's what I think. At a certain point, everything's clicking for this guy and a lot of that team. It's going to run out at some point. So, shocker, I don't have Toronto. But anyways, like I said, Edmonton I like. But my true pick, honestly, out of the West, I like Dallas a lot. I feel like I've said that for the last 2 years. But I love the makeup of their team. Forwards, they have vets and young stars. Like, you look at, obviously, Robertson and Rupe Hintz are more established. But, like, Wyatt Johnson, up-and-coming, good young player. They got a few other guys like Logan Stankoven. I think if he can be like a player in the NHL, it's another depth piece. Thomas Harley on defense, who's like another guy who can complement. If Heiskanen's not going, this guy almost has 20 goals this year. He's a good offensive D. And then Ottinger and Nets. He's a true number one goalie. And like him at all positions. So Dallas is the other team I'd pick out of the West. And then East. East is where I struggle to make a pick, honestly. Yeah, I know I bashed Florida earlier, but I actually do like Florida a lot. So I'll loop back on what I just said there. Let's go Florida over the other teams because Carolina, I don't really see them anymore. I don't even know if they're in a playoff spot right now. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But Dallas or Edmonton are my true picks.
Dallas sneaky good too. Dallas is sneaky good. They're like the Rangers a little. Like they're quietly like maybe in first place in the division. So
they are, yeah.
They are, right? Yeah. So good picks, Eric.
So the picks we got from people, we got a lot of picks here. So the first one is from the homie Nick Seguin. He said the Oilers, so a team that I'm also pulling for. And that's a team I would cheer for, honestly. Out of all those teams that are in, I'd go Oilers. Former guest Justin Mochtinger, he said Dallas as well. Zach, my bro, he said Vegas as well, so siding with you on that one, Matt. My cousin Dan, he said Dallas too. Ron Antoine, back at it again. Nepean White, U9, and the MVP will be Jackson Antoine. So I'm assuming a grandson in this situation.
Fair enough.
So my fiance Andy said New York Rangers. That's her team that she's liked for a bit, and I like, honestly, Rangers are great. Like if Shesterkin is going, that's like a MVP caliber player who can steal games and then series as well. So I like the Rangers, and like you said earlier, Trocheck, Panarin, Kreider, who else? Like Zibanejad. They have a lot of weapons. Like if Lafreniere can get going too, Kakko. So if you just So thank you, Andy. And then your mom was the last one. She said Vancouver as her pick.
Oh, I had no idea she followed hockey. I'm impressed that she even knows Vancouver's in the playoff spot. So, awesome. Maybe that's my dad's pick, though, because she may have asked him, like, who do I say?
Could be, yeah. He is a Thatcher Demko guy, so.
I'm just going to say it's because of Demko. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great goalie. Like, Vancouver, like I said, I bashed them earlier, but they have all the tools. Like, they have the number one goalie, number one D, number one center, and then complementary pieces, too, so. Maybe I'm just being harsh on them, and they're the team. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No playoff experience, though, right? Like, that's the problem. Like, the Vegas and the Floridas, they know what it takes to get to the Cup finals, so I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like it's tough to make it back-to-back to the finals, the only thing.
Oh, super tough. I mean, Tampa did it, but, like, they had the short season.
Yeah.
That helps, so... Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough grind. It's a physical grind. Like, look at the teams with the tough fourth and third lines. They're the ones that are going to make it far. And we always say that. Why is Toronto not making it every year far? Because of that, right?
Yeah.
Top two lines are heavy. Bottom two lines are non-existent.
Well, Ryan Reeves should help in that regard to really cement them as a team not to be trifled with. Like, if anything physical happens, like, that's the guy you look to as, like... The game is gonna police itself through Ryan Reeves. We're gonna clip that, but
no, Ryan Reeves. Sit and say Ryan. That's what I call him because that's all he does. That he just talks. He doesn't actually do anything.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're seeing another year where maybe not first round, but Leafs, they don't have it. Just to make that abundantly clear, it ain't their year.
They're going to do a second round exit again, is my prediction.
Yeah, I could easily
Maybe a
see
game
that.
7 second round exit this time, though. I don't know.
The thing is, though, our division is so good that it's a tough matchup, whoever. Unless you finish in first,
True.
I feel like first place, that kind of helps out. But even at that, Tampa's in a wild card spot right now because of like Florida, Boston being the other teams that are in there. So
right.
The best case scenario for the Leafs is if they finish in first in the division, in the conference, and then Detroit somehow squeaks in the second wildcard spot and they play them. Then they'll whoop Detroit. I don't know how Detroit has maintained relevancy all year. I thought we'd be farther along than them coming into this year for sure. I had Buffalo and us ahead of Detroit, but it's proven to be the former.
Yeah, like, we're supposed to be like Detroit or New Jersey right now, like, you know, fighting for a playoff spot, but, like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Is the Sens culture right now, like, all fun and games and not serious enough? Like, I like when I see Jacques Martin short-shifting Josh Norris and doing things like that. Like, I like that. Install a system and install discipline and instill fear, not fear, but instill, like, a sense of integrity and accountability for the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Which DJ did not.
No, he was buddy with them, like playing cards on the PJ with them. 5-figure hand buy-ins. Just, it wasn't good for anybody, really.
Right.
Just creating degenerates out of them rather than molding them into effective young men on the ice. So, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I got for hockey, like, thoughts at this point. Like, I'm always excited for playoffs to roll around, especially when Ottawa's not in. I still get, even when they're not in, I still get very into it. So I'm sure we'll have a very exciting run, and more players will emerge, become household names, and stars are born. And when Wyatt Johnson scores the game winner in the Cup final, everyone will remember the name. But
well, I'll remember for sure. We should definitely do an update. That's all I have, too. We should definitely do an update, though, maybe halfway through the playoffs or right before the Stanley Cup final or something.
Do that.
I'd love to, like, touch back on the whole season.
Yeah, I'm down for sure.
Yeah. And talk about fantasy maybe, too, because we'll know who won our fantasy league. So
it's a tight race.
I don't know.
It's a race at the top for sure. Like, you and I, like, our odds are very slim. I don't even think it's a possibility that we win, but I'm still, like, making my lineup and trying to make moves, and, you know, I'm not a quitter. The last thing I am is someone who's just going to openly tank and try to get the best draft pick as possible because it doesn't guarantee you anything where you draft in real life, in the NHL, and in fantasy. You're not guaranteed to get a better player. First of all, I'd like to apologize on behalf of many people in the fantasy league, probably myself included, who made fun of your pick, Matt. 5th or 6th overall, Carter Verhaeghe proved to be an incredible pick in the first round. Like, I don't think anyone in their right mind can say a bad thing about that pick anymore. If so, they're just unwilling or unable to admit that they're wrong. I don't know. That ain't me.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Eric. Yeah, he's like ranked 24th or 23rd now. So
exactly.
No, I mean, it was a risk, and yes, I was like, okay, they're hating on him, but I picked him because he's on Florida, really, and I'm like, Florida's going to do really well, and because Florida's been doing way better now, he's been doing way better. Just like Reinhardt and all of that.
He's very, very underrated, and now he's definitely like emerged on the scene. Like everyone knows him, but for the last few years, he's been a solid like 60, 70 point guy.
Yeah.
Maybe even 80, I don't know, but he's been really, really good for a while. So, great call.
That was a bit of I gambled, right? I don't want to say I'm so smart that I knew he was going to be like that. No, that was a total risk.
Yeah.
Maybe it was foolish at the time. I should have went with a sure pick, but whatever. It worked out. He'll be one of my keepers. So
there we go. There's a lot of luck, I feel like, in general in fantasy. You looked at certain teams in the league, for example. Like, I looked at Zach's team thinking, like, this is a very good team. Looked at Andy's team, thought the same thing. And this is really not to be mean, but compared to, for example, your dad's team, who's in first place, would never have thought that team would be in first place. Like, just hand up. I mean, a lot of those players, like, just going off. You never, like, Blake Coleman having career year. Yeah. Like, you really never know where it's going to go, and you capitalize on guys who are just crushing at the right time, and now he's made a bunch of trades. He's bolstered his team. Like, he's got a solid chance, so it's going to be a fun race to the end.
Yeah. No, you have to have that to win the fan. You have to have the right place, right time players, so, yeah.
Do you have anything? I know we got to wrap soon there, but do you have any recommendations you want to give out to the people?
Let's see. You can go first. I'm gonna look at my list.
Okay.
My letterbox.
Movie-wise, I've been slowing down a bit. Right now, I have Apple TV, so I've been watching a lot of stuff on there. If anyone has Apple TV, would definitely recommend the show Shrinking with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. Very, very good. Like, funny show. Very over the top. Like, they both play therapists, and they like get involved in their patients' lives and stuff, and try different techniques to offer guidance and help. Jason Segel, like, very unexpected, fantastic performance from him. The whole cast is dynamite, honestly. Like, every supporting character is a key contributor to the story. They're like all overly involved in each other's lives, and like I said, the plots are a bit over the top there, but I was all in the whole time. Nice little 30-minute comedy. Definitely recommend. And obviously has a lot of dramatic moments too. So Shrinking on Apple TV, would recommend.
Nice. I've heard of it. I've heard good things. I need to up my Apple TV game.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
I'll recommend one movie. I've watched a lot recently, actually, and maybe I'll discuss more on another episode. But the one I'm going to talk about now is a rom-com, which is actually really good. I recommend it to anybody. Perfect for like a date night, or like perfect for you and Andy to watch, Eric. Anyone But You with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell.
Let's go.
Really funny movie. Not expecting to laugh as much as I did, to be honest. The dialogue was sharp. Yes, it's a comedy, so like you know where it goes at the end. You know, it's predictable, but like it was really good. The two leads were great, and the setting. It takes place during a wedding. Like it had the situational comedy stuff was beautiful.
Okay.
And it was like there's some raunchy stuff too, but not over the top. You know, it's not too crazy, but it's just a fun time. I didn't expect to like this movie that much, to be honest.
Okay,
I watched it because Dallas liked it, who was on our 2 episodes ago, top 10 movies,
right,
or 3 episodes ago. Yeah, anyways, he liked it, so I watched it. It's really good.
Okay,
you don't have to rush out to the theater to see it, but like watch it when it comes out, Eric. I think you'll like it. That's anyone but you.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I mean, love a good rom-com. I feel like we all need those kind of movies. Like, even though you can kind of see sometimes where they're going, they probably have like a bit of unique and originality to the way they tell the story. And even if it's some things you've seen before, like, you still just eat it up. So that's great. I thought you were gonna recommend American Fiction. Honestly, that was my guess for what you were gonna say, but perhaps
I want to talk about that one more in depth.
Okay.
Maybe on another episode, because that one was amazing.
I want to watch it. Honestly, it's on my list for sure. Okay. Yeah, movies. Like I said, I don't really think I have any to recommend. Like I'm just waiting for the first movie of 2024 that's gonna be good. Like I've only seen bad movies drop so far. So I mean, just maybe preview for next episode. Like I would want to talk about Dune 2. Like that could be our next episode too. So
yeah,
I'm gonna rewatch Dune. Hopefully before going to see Dune 2. Very excited to see that. And I think based on what I've heard, could be solid. So I'm hoping it is actually like a very good first entry of 2024 for me. And then, looking forward to talking about that as well. Other show I could say, if you have Crave, check out Late Bloomer. It's a new show by Canadian. So I just want to get his name there and give props here. It's like I said, Canadian show created by Jasmeet Raina, and he plays a version of himself pretty much in the show, and he's an Indian, second generation Canadian, or I think first generation Canadian. His parents immigrated to give him a better life, and basically he's like a podcaster. He's like kind of internet famous, but not like over the top, and he just makes music videos in his basement. His parents don't understand, so it's kind of like a generational disconnect. I found it very funny, honestly, and like a lot of relatable stuff in there too. A lot of over the top again, but overall like some feel good stuff in there, and like they poke fun at like podcasters, and there's a lot of Canadian lore, like references to like LCBO, CRA. Like there's some funny stuff in there that I enjoyed. So short show, 8 episodes, 20-some minutes. Check it out. It's good stuff.
That sounds like a perfect watch, actually. Easy to watch, and if I get the references, even better, right? Like the Canadian stuff. I did see a clip for it. Yeah, good recommendation.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Like,
I'll talk about more stuff next episode.
Okay.
Just press for time.
Sounds good.
Tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, good for now. 2 shows. Started lessons in chemistry on Apple TV with Brie Larson. Hopefully that's good. We had Dune 2. Go check it out before you listen to our next episode. So, and watch Dune 1 as well. Great movie. And yeah, sounds good. So yeah, great times. Matt, flew by, honestly, talking about the NHL season. Any final notes for the listeners?
No, just thank you everybody for listening. Everybody go see Dune Part 2, because pretty much lock that in for next episode. We're going to be discussing it. Eric, it was a blast talking to you about hockey. It did go way too, like we could have talked another hour. Thank you everybody for listening. Hope you're having a good time right now. Well said, Matt. So thanks a lot everybody for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Continue to enjoy the winter, the warm weather that's around the corner. And peace.